God, I do this every single week. Hello. Hello, everybody. I can see 3 people are in the chat, are in the live. Welcome. If you are in the live, please do me a favor and just put in the chat that you can hear me, see me, and maybe say your name and your city. Welcome, welcome. I'm hoping this is right. Hi, guys. If you can hear me, see me, please let me know in the chat. Hello. Okay, I can see there's still someone in the chat. If you are tuned into the live. Oh, hey, Sierra, great. Okay, can you hear me, Sierra? I hope you can. So excited for the live. Sorry, guys, I'm a minute late because every time I do a live, I'm always overwhelmed and don't really good at getting it up and going. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this live. Hi, Emma. Cool. Yay. So thank you so much for being on this live. If you are tuned in, make sure you say where you're from, which city you're tuned in from. I know that some girls were tuning in from Europe. So if you are tuned in from Europe, just let me know. I miss my continent a lot. And yeah, if you're on my newsletter, then you know I sent out an email earlier today that we're finally finished with quarantine here in Colombia. So I figured rather than filming another quarantine conversation, oh wow, from Nigeria, great, welcome. Rather than filming another like quarantine conversation, I figured why not just do a live? Because that is like, you know, my official last quarantine conversation because I can go outside again starting tomorrow. And South Carolina, awesome. Thank you, Sierra. And yeah, so today I want to talk about something very simple and from South Africa. Okay, wow, thank you guys. That is so amazing. What time is it in Africa at the moment? I think it's 6 hours ahead, so maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have to do these a little bit more often because I know a lot of people can't do a live because they're overseas. So yeah, definitely make sure you give this video a thumbs up while you're at it, like the live so that, you know, YouTube sends it to other people and we can make sure that more people see it. 7 p.m. Awesome. Great. So yeah, today's topic, let me open up my great list. As you know, today I want to talk about something that a lot of times I feel like people say, oh, you shouldn't have a list, you shouldn't have a list. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having a list if you have it for the right reasons, if you have the right things on it. And that is like this future boyfriend, future husband checklist, right? So today I wanted to like show you guys how I do figure out what you need in a boyfriend, in a husband. It's a lot of times what I do with a lot of my coaching clients, you know, when they come to me and tell me, you know, I'm looking for a relationship or a man, and I ask them, hey, so what's on your list? Exactly. Thank you, Victoria's Fiona. When you have a list, when you go to the store, you get what you need. And that's exactly what it's about. A list is about finding out what do I need rather than what do I want. And a lot of times, and what happened in my past is that I didn't have a list. I didn't know what I want, right? But guess what? I ended up with what I could get. And that doesn't help, right? Because a lot of times what you can get is not what you need. A lot of times the men that show us their interests are not really what we're looking for, right? And I think a lot of times that's why when we're younger, we're all into the bad boy because he's the one who is interested. He's the one who knows how to approach a woman. But is he really what you want? Like, do you want to be treated in that way? So that's what we're going to get into it. And yeah, please, you guys, if you have a list, definitely put in the chat. What are some of the things that you look for in a man, in a relationship? Let me know. I want to go into it, into each and every idea I'm going to share what I have on my list, and I think it's a very like broad list. So definitely make sure you share it. And if you haven't yet, make sure you give this video a thumbs up so that it's shared to more people. So, okay, should you have a list? I already answered it a little bit, and I say yes. You should have a list, because if you have a list, you will make sure that the type of men that you meet are actually the type of men that you need, the type of people that actually help you, that actually get you closer to what your goal is, right? Sarah is saying men of God first. Awesome. That is definitely something that's on my list. And even if it's men of God, and I will get into it a little bit later, it's like, what does it mean to be a man of God, right? I think we all have met a lot of men in our lives who are Christian, but are they really practicing? Do you want someone who is a practicing Christian? Do you want someone who goes to church every Sunday? Or are you fine with someone who goes to church once every month? Are you fine with someone who only goes on Christmas and Easter? All these things are different. So you want to kind of like narrow it down rather than just man of God first. And I'm going to show you guys how I would do it. So should you have a list? Yes, you should have a list, but that list shouldn't be looking at the guy itself. The way you want to build a list is actually by looking at what you want in a relationship. So knowing what you need in a relationship is where you want to start. So you basically would have a list of what the relationship needs to look like, what the relationship needs to feel like, what the relationship needs to serve, how it needs to really make you feel, right? Because if you don't know how you want to feel in a relationship, a lot of times what will happen is that you have a guy that tick all the boxes, but the relationship is not really for you. And I can unfortunately speak from experience from someone very, very close to me that even a man of God, even someone who was very active in the church, was not able to provide a relationship that was safe, was loving, was caring, right? So you want to go the other way around. And the way we do it in my course is that we reverse engineer the needs. So I want to give you an example based on what I just said about someone close to me, right? She got married to someone who was very, 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 very active in the church, like a deacon type of, like, we don't do deacons in Germany like that, but he was kind of like a deacon, right? But unfortunately, the relationship ended up being abusive. So now you can ask yourself, what was more important, to look for a man of God first, right? Because a lot of you said man of God needs to bear the fruits of the Spirit, which I think that is amazing to say that. Or was it important to actually know that you want to be safe in a relationship? You want to be loved in a relationship. You want to be cherished in a relationship, right? So if you say, okay, I want a man of God, but you need to understand, what does that mean to me? So a way that I say it is that you have to have like a list. Right, exactly. You know them by their fruits, right? By their fruits, right? And so, for example, you want to have like a mental list. Of course, you can like write down exactly what it is every day and meditate on it, pray on it, all these things. But you can also just have a mental list and know, hey, in my future relationship, I want to feel safe. What does it mean to feel safe? How does a person actually make you feel safe, right? And then you go through and say, okay, in order for me to feel safe in a relationship, I need someone who understands right from wrong, understands that being abusive emotionally or physically is wrong, right? No matter what they think, why they need to do it, no matter the justification, at the end of the day, it's wrong. So you need to feel like, okay, this person actually knows that physically abused, no matter what can happen, no matter how heated it gets, no matter how bad the argument gets, is never acceptable, right? But I'm going to go through the list that I already prepared. I just wanted to show this as an example. So, for example, number one on my list, and I want all of you girls, every single one, yes, man of God, faith is important, but I want you to write down on your list before anything else is available. Because I find that a lot of us have these amazing traits on our lists, but we don't write down that we want someone who's actually available. And I'm not just talking about being emotionally available. that will be amazing. That is also very important. But I want you to write down that he is available in general, that he's spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically available, that he is wants to be committed. So, and why am I saying this? Because first and foremost, what you want in a boyfriend, the fact that you want a boyfriend or a husband is you want a committed relationship, right? So who can provide a committed relationship? Somebody that is available for a committed relationship or even excited about a relationship, right? Financially available, right? Somebody who's financially available, somebody who's financially prepared to do what he needs to do in order to be with you, right? So first and foremost, I want everybody to understand that in order to be in a committed relationship, you need someone who's available. And that's why I put it as number one, because for a long time in my life, guess what? It wasn't on my list at all. And it did not help. So that is number one, right? We reverse engineer. I want to be in a committed relationship. That's why I want to be with someone who is available. Number two on the list for what you want to look for in a guy and how you want to create your boyfriend checklist is that you want someone that, again, that you can trust is going to provide a relationship that is open, that is safe, that is just that builds a connection. And what I wrote down is that you want someone that is self-aware. Why am I saying self-aware? Because there's nothing wrong than being with someone who doesn't see what's going on, right? We all know people, or we might have been a person like that at the time, or we might be a person like that still, right? That really can only see what's going on in their own little environment, but can't see past that. But guess what happens? No matter how well you know the guy, no matter if you guys went to kindergarten together, no matter if you guys have been living in the same city for all your life, at the end of the day, that person is a separate person for you. That person thinks, feels, and acts different as you, okay? So I always want you guys to remember that at the end of the day, there's a reason why we say two become one, because you are two different entities until you decide to become one. And in order for you to be able to communicate healthily, he needs to be self-aware. He needs to be able to see, oh, I did a mistake and I need to rectify it, or, oh, I might have to adjust my thinking. I might have to adjust my actions in order to make this work, right? So I put down self-aware because in a relationship, you want to be with someone that is able not just to be humble and have grace, but also just able to open up and truly see, okay, where can we change, or where do I have to change in order to make this work? Okay, you guys, let me know. Do you agree? What are some things that are on your list? I just shared two. I have a few more to go, but I want to know, is there anything did you have on your list that has either changed maybe in the past, or something that you feel like you never really thought about until I started talking about the ones that I just mentioned? Financially available, having the fruits of the spirits, very important, right? Self-discipline, being true, being loving, being caring, all these things. And yeah, being a man of God, no question, and it's coming up on mine soon as well. So if nobody has anything you want to share, let's go on. Number three is that you want to have a relationship that is built on trust. If you watch my videos, then you know that I mention trust, like, I think in every second, maybe third video, because it's so important. And I don't know why we a lot of times make an excuse for trust, right? We're like, oh, he's not really doing what I asked him to do. But no, but if he's not really, if you can trust the person, then you can't really justify it. Like, there is really no but. If there's no trust, there's no trust. Not, oh yeah, he does it, but it's like you're underselling yourself. You're self-abandoning yourself by allowing him not to live up to what you need for him for trust. So in order to be in a relationship that is based on trust, that is built on trust, you need someone that is honest, right? Because only if he is honest, you will be able to trust that person more and more and more. He said that, he did that, I trust him. I asked him to do something, he did it, I trust him, and so on and so on. Trust is something that is built time after time. There is no such thing as I meet someone today and tomorrow I trust them with my life. We don't, right? We don't. I'm not a mother and I can't tell you what it feels like to have a child and be like, I would jump into the ocean for this child right away the first day that I see it. At the end of the day, it's very rare that we meet someone and the next day we're ready to give our lives for them. And the next day we're ready to give them our lives, right? So trust is something that builds over time and over time and over time because you've seen this person live up to the word again and again and again. So if you want a relationship that is built on trust, that has a foundation of trust, you need someone that is honest. And then another thing that I think is very important and is kind of like the foundation of everything I talk about, because you guys, I hope you guys understand that I coach dating and relationship, not because I want to coach you guys how to get a man, but because I believe that by you truly understanding how much worth you have, understanding how much God has put the time and effort and love in creating you, that all these things are what will automatically attract a great person to you. So what does that mean? It means that you have to be by yourself, feel worthy, feel happy, feel like you're living a life that is truly, truly, truly the best. So I say, I want to be in a relationship that is a happy, healthy relationship, right? That's number 4. Number 4 is a happy, healthy relationship. How do I reverse engineer it? By actually looking for someone who is healthy and happy, not just content. That is something I know not everybody agrees with me because I hear the word contentment a lot, especially in the church. However, I do believe that you don't have to settle for just being content, just going through the motion, just living a life that is, oh my God, I'm waking up today and I'm going to go to sleep later, but I hope the next 10 hours go by fast. No, you can actually create a life that you are excited, satisfied, happy about. And by finding someone who is happy and not just content in his own life, guess what? The two of you will live a relationship that is happy, healthy, and exciting. Honest and transparent. Absolutely. That is definitely what goes into the trust one. And I always love not yes, being honest with you, right, Mary? Being honest and really telling you what they feel. What else would you want, right? Because we know that if somebody is lying to you just to please you, at the end of the day, they will hurt you because now you don't know who they really are because they have always been putting a mask on. So be honest, be transparent, and that's what you want from another person. So yeah, for me, happy and not just content is important because I want the other person to live their best life before they meet me so that we can live a great life together. Number 5 on my list is someone who is ambitious and determined. And it doesn't mean that the person needs to be, I don't know, a multimillionaire or needs to think like a multimillionaire and wanna like have a lot of money or whatever. What it simply means is that if you know there's something you want to achieve in your life, you are able and you're willing and you are determined to go for it, right? I think that the one thing that makes a lot of us feel unhappy in our lives is when we just settle again, when we're just content but not happy. And the only way to change that is by saying, hey, you know what? I don't like the way this is going at the moment. I'm going to do something about it. And again, it can be something as simple as I don't like where I work. I'm going to try and see if I can find a different job. It can also be something as complicated as I want to build a business, right? But being ambitious, hopeful, determined is so important because I want the other person to be in charge of their lives just as much as I am, because at the end of the day, I can take your dissatisfaction or your unhappiness for you just as much as I can give it to you, right? We need to always remember we are not in charge of the other person's feelings, emotions, how they feel. They are in charge of it. So they need to be able to understand it and actually do something about it. If you guys have anything you want to share, definitely make sure you put it in the chat. Make sure you give this video a like so that it is spread throughout YouTube. And let me go on. Number 6, which Let me know if you agree with me or not. Be honest now. I wrote down number 6 is is mutual attraction. What is it that I want in a relationship? In the relationship, I want a relationship where I love the other person. And for me, it means that I have to be attracted to them. Now, here comes the thing. Attraction does not always mean looks, physique, and all these things. Attraction happens on multiple levels, right? Attraction happens mentally, physically, spiritually. You can be attracted to the whole person, which is more than just their body, their face. So for me, in order to have a relationship where I truly love someone, it means that I need to be able to bond with them emotionally, physically, spiritually, to be able to truly feel like, oh, wow, I'm attracted to the way they think because it fits into what I believe to be true, what I believe my values are. So if you guys agree with it, thank you, Mary. Let me know in the chat. Is that something that you look for? Is that something that you don't look for? How do you feel about it? Is attraction important to you or not? Yes, mutual attraction is important, especially right because it also is important to know that the other person is attracted to you, right? A lot of times I think when we are worried about someone else not truly loving us, it's because we are subconsciously worried about them not actually finding us attractive, right? I say this a lot of times. If you believe that you're a bad chick, you don't really worry about somebody not liking you. So we need to know that, right? We want to know the other person is attracted to us because we're very smart, we're very beautiful, we're very intelligent, we're very determined, we're very loving, we're caring, we're nurturing. When you know all this, you know that the other person, you have no choice but to like me, to love me because I'm great. So that's the way I think mutual attraction works. It works by you knowing that I really like that person on different level and the other person liking you. Cool. Sierra agrees as well. Awesome, awesome. And then the last one, and like I said in the beginning, that is the most important one with available is faith. Again, faith is so subjective. And I think that is really something important to remember is faith is so objective, right? There are people who we know might be less in tune with what we believe to be Christians. And there are people where we would say, wow, they are very outstanding. But it's so subjective that there is no measurement to it really, right? You have to have your own relationship with God. So nobody can tell you if you're right or wrong because let's say at the moment, right? A lot of people are not physically going to church, right? That's also why maybe now at this moment, a lot of people are available because we didn't go to church. We didn't go to after church brunch. But fact is that there are people who, now that the states opened up again, are already going in and sitting in social distance and 2 meters apart. But if you don't want to do that, does that mean that your faith is not as strong as the people who went to church? No. So what we need to remember when it comes to faith is that it's subjective, but you need to know, what do I want for myself in my relationship later? Do I want my children to grow up in a household where both of us are strong believers? Do I want in my relationship, my marriage life, do I want to go to church every single Sunday? Is it important to me that he has that same belief to go every single Sunday? Do I want to be abstinent? A lot of times, I know that a lot of us, we have a hard time voicing what we want in that physical intimacy space because we know what our relationship is with Christ, but we're worried that that's not the same that they have. So that's something you need to decide for yourself and say, is that important to me? If it is important to you, then you need to find someone who's okay with you being absent because they will be with you at one point. Physical attraction looks good, but then past 2 years, I guess, and it works. Yep, about attraction, you're absolutely right. So those are all the things that you need to like. With faith, I think it's the one point on this list that needs to have bullet points. Faith needs to have bullet points because faith means something else to everybody, right? So if you're saying faith is important to me, you need to be able to put into words, what does faith look like in my life? What is it? What does it mean? How do I want to live my life later? How do I want my kids to grow up? How do I want my relationship to look like? Because again, you guys, I really want to make sure you hear me on this. I know someone who is married to someone who's on the way to become a pastor, and he was abusive. So it's not enough to just say he needs to have faith, he needs to know God, he needs to have a relationship with God, right? Whatever is going on in his head is his problem. I don't care about it because I'm not the one to judge. But at the same time, that's not the ideal relationship just because you can go and say, oh, my husband, he's a Christian. Well, does he actually act like a Christian? What does it mean to you to be married to a Christian? So that's really important. And those were actually all my 7 points, right? Those were the 7 points I wanted to mention. Is there anything you guys want to add to it? Let's talk, because I know that a lot of people have other things. Mary, I love what you said, that a lot of times in the past when we're younger, we look for like physical attraction, right? On top of our list is like, he has to be handsome, he has to be dark, he has to be tall, he has to be light skinned, maybe if that's your type. He has to be, I don't know, he has to be super, like athletic, right? Like 6-pack and everything. And then we find that person turns out not to treat us well. So what does that really matter in the greater scheme of things? Right, being attracted to someone who fears God and is intelligent. Again, what does intelligent mean to you, right, Mary? Because being intelligent, to me, for example, being intelligent starts with somebody who knows how, I don't know, to drive a car, right? Because not everybody in the world knows how to drive a car. So is he more intelligent than the person who doesn't know how to drive a car, but maybe even have a PhD? So you want to go deep and say, okay, what does intelligent mean to me? And what does it not mean to me? Yes, once you have all these characteristics, then right, then everything other things will fall into place, exactly, because those are big umbrellas, right? Again, if you look for someone who's available, it means a lot of times that they are trustworthy because they as well are looking for something real, something committed, right? If you're looking for someone who is ambitious and determined, a lot of times that means that is someone who takes care of their appearance or of their wellness, right, of their well-being, because that is just their nature. So I agree with you, Sierra. A lot of these characteristics are like umbrella characteristics where other things fall into place because they kind of like belong together. So you want to choose the ones that for you are important. And yeah, you want to make sure that you understand, hey, how do I want to feel in a relationship? And then you reverse engineer it to a specific characteristic in a person. Girls, anything else that you want to share with the group? I loved it. I'm so excited because it's not 30 minutes yet. I always try to stay under it. Very true. Yep, noted on intelligent. Right, exactly, right? It's very easy for us to say, I want someone who's intelligent. But what does that mean? I mean, I don't have a PhD, so do I want to date someone who has a PhD? Is that important to me? You know? And that's another thing I think very important is that we don't choose people because we want to be validated by them. That's something I can tell you guys straight up that I used to do. I used to date guys that I perceived to be more attractive than me. That's a good one. More attractive than me because I felt like I wasn't that attractive. Like I grew up, yep, there are many types of intelligence. I grew up not feeling as attractive because I was in a country where my looks weren't really the popular looks, right? So I used to go after guys who I thought were more attractive than me. And guess what? I would treat them like a star. What happens if you treat another person like a star? They treat you like a fan. So you don't want to go for characteristics that you feel like you don't have. You don't want to go for someone who's intelligent because you feel like you're stupid. No, you don't want to go for someone who's super attractive because you feel like you're not. No, because that brings imbalance. You want to go for someone that makes a nice, beautiful, healthy relationship available for you, right? You want to go for how you want to feel because guess what? Me going for someone that was I perceived to be more attractive than me in the relationship, I would still feel ugly, right? Or I'd still feel like I wasn't as attractive. And that's not how you want to feel in a relationship. You want to feel like the other person actually sees your beauty, no matter if it is beauty that comes from the outside or comes from the inside. Make my list of how a day with him should look like, how I want him to treat me. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Make a list of how do you want to feel? How do you want to be treated? Not looking for perfect, treats me well. Yep, takes care of me, makes me feel good about myself. Gentleness on my list. Right. Those are really good. Respect, patience, and gentleness. So important. So important. Yep, I love these. Thank you, Na, for sharing those. And those things is also something you can use when you visualize. I don't know if any one of you guys knows how you manifest things into your life. But the way to manifest something into your life is by actually being able to kind of like feel the way you want to be feel before you get the thing, right? So you're saying, I want to feel loved. So what does that mean? When you find someone that shows you this love that you've been wanting for so long, you will recognize it. And that's how you manifest a loving partner. Not by saying, I want to meet someone who's great looking, because guess what? It's so subjective that it doesn't matter. But what matters is, how do you want to feel? How do you want your relationship to look like? So really to say, okay, this is what my day would look like. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to give you an idea of, is this actually available to me? Great, you guys, it's 31 minutes. I'm so glad that it's not 45. If you have anything else to share, do it now. If not, thank you so much for being part. I love everybody's tips, and I loved everybody's ideas and character traits. And yeah, so let me know if you want me to do something similar. If you are on my newsletter, definitely watch out, because I'm starting something very new on this YouTube channel, which I'm so excited about. It's going to be an interview series with men, godly men, or non-godly men, we'll see, that will be answering all our popular questions on this YouTube channel soon, and that's going to be so good. Thank you, Sierra. I'm so happy that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, definitely just email me or let me know on Instagram or Facebook, and I will make sure to answer your question. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video, which is going to drop tomorrow, right? Bye.